1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rogue Creators Podcast. My name is Brian Fitton. I'm here with Loren Lewis.
Hey.
Hey, and also we have special guests today.
Woohoo!
In the house. In the house, we have Soapbox Influence, our roomies. Yeah. We have Nate and Charlotte from Soapbox Influence, and we're going to dive into all kinds of good influencer marketing stuff. The experts are here. This is special.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Yeah. We really are.
Together.
With you guys.
Oh, yeah. But before we do that, before we jump in, we like to start with something fun. What's that, Loren?
We do. Each week, we like to start our episodes off with what are you obsessed with this week? So starting with our guest, what are you guys obsessed with?
Sorry, you want me to go?
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you guys been to the table at the station?
No. It's in unison. That's good.
You haven't?
Absolutely
To the
not.
Station Cafe downtown?
Oh.
It's now called the Table at the Station.
Oh, I did not know that.
Right.
I went to it way back when.
I had a burger there yesterday and I am obsessed.
Is it the grilled cheeseburger?
No, it's their Angus, mushroom bacon Swiss burger. And it was to die for.
Lunchtime.
Literally, it was one of the best burgers I've ever had.
Just need to stop recording and just go.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. There we go.
Table
Station Cafe. And, okay. It's called the Table now?
Isn't it called the Table at the Station?
Yeah.
It's like the same guy that owns Table Mesa.
Oh, okay.
Just like tables.
Renamed it.
Yeah.
They have tables.
Great outdoor dining.
Yeah.
Amazing burger.
That's awesome. So back before they sold it, we knew kind of the original owners back in the day that had it for 40 years or whatever it was. But they used to have a grilled cheese double bacon cheeseburger. So the buns were 2 grilled cheese sandwiches. And then you had the multiple patties and bacon and cheese all up. It was insane.
I would have to sleep the rest of the day. But it would be worth it.
It would be worth it. Yeah,
gladly sleep.
And take some,
a warm lunch.
I love that. Oh, man.
Have to take some blood pressure medicine after
Yeah,
that.
maybe.
What about you, Charlotte? What are you obsessed with right now?
I am going to say that it is patio season. I just with the weather and the leaves changing, I just love sitting on a patio. I even will just go and leave my door open and just sit on my patio with my record playing and just any chance I can be outside until I hibernate for winter. I'm
I like how we were both going to say sports.
Yeah, we were going to say sports. But you started with the burger.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah, you can also find us on the weekends at football games. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's patio / football season.
It really is. The sweet spot.
Awesome.
Can't go wrong with that.
What about you, Loren?
So I was not excited about this, but my husband forced me to watch Cobra Kai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've
heard about it.
And I was I'm not interested at this at all. But we've we're halfway through the second season now, and it's really good. It's got this weird, cheesy but serious but funny vibe that they somehow pull off. I don't know how, because there's several scenes in this show that I'm just why are we watching this? But then it transitions and I'm this is really good. Yeah. So I would definitely, if you liked Karate Kid, same actors.
Yeah, I've heard a similar sentiment about that show. I need to check it out.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Nice. So I'm obsessed with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, I know.
I have been waiting to do a podcast recording so I can talk about my obsession with Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I have gone down this rabbit trail super hard. So it started with September. I love that song. It's one of the best songs ever. And then I was I'm going to watch the original music videos. And they're insanely weird. And you have to be stoned out of your mind to record these in general. As a video producer, I look at these and I'm this is nuts. But anyway, and so I have now gone down finding out the original members, when it started. I play bass guitar, and so Verdine White is the original bass guitar player, and I'm just learning how he kind of was a funk master of the bass guitar and kind of founded a lot of stuff too in the bass. Anyway, so this podcast is not about that, but I think I should start an Earth, Wind, and Fire just fan podcast. So anyway, I actually watched some videos today.
I don't want to co-host.
I have watched. Why not, Loren? I don't understand why. I mean, so my kids, we have dance parties with Earth, Wind, and Fire, and it's been a lot of fun. So
was that 70s?
Very 70s. Very 70s. Disco, funk, R&B. Yeah.
Music documentaries. You're just like,
yes. Absolutely.
How they were made, like how they like came up with a song, like.
And then, so now Charlotte and I are going to have a music podcast.
I was going to say, you found a
listen to a record. And
I think there was one, I watched how like Sweet Home Alabama was, the song came about, and like, it just gives you chills.
That's awesome. Well, cool. All right. Well, that's going to be, again, we're going to have to start scheduling that. Make sure you guys check out the new podcast, Bryan and Charlotte, talking about old music. It's going to be great.
We'll come up with the name later.
Exactly.
It's a catchy one now.
Speaking of, you guys just recorded your first podcast for Soapbox Influence. What is the title? Because you're like, we're coming up with a name for our question.
I think, what do we land on? Social proof.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All about just like the influence you can make. And obviously we're in the influencer world. And so just diving in deeper into that. And social proof came about.
There's a play on words there too, because we love wine here and beer. I don't, they do.
So that's it. I've never seen you drink anything.
I don't drink, but like they do. So there's a culture here of that. So they kind of, there's that little play on words too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to be like
meeting together,
under the influence, or
getting social.
How to wine friends and influence people. We landed on social proof.
How to wine friends and influence people. Yeah. That's a great tagline.
It is really good.
Good. You guys are phenomenal at coming up with just even that, because you guys are so involved in this community. And this was something that I didn't really know existed until we met you. And so we're going to have to link back to our episode with Beth.
Yeah.
That was over a year ago that we recorded with Beth here. And but then we became roommates, and now we're recording, have some office space sharing together. And so we're really excited about this. But anyway, let's dive into this, Loren.
Yeah. Well,
let's do it.
First, for those listening, tell us a little bit about Soapbox Influence and what you guys actually do.
Yeah. So Soapbox Influence, we are largely an influencer marketing firm. We do other things. So we really play in that social space. So I think we kind of had three legs to our business. We obviously, influencer marketing is our bread and butter, something that we do really well. And then we also do social media management and some of the, ancillary marketing services that are attached to that. And then lastly, we do shopper insights. So really learning how to get into the mind of the shopper and providing that feedback, some of that qualitative, data to a lot of the suppliers here in the community and other brands and businesses. So I think that's us in a nutshell. I'm personally in the director of operations and insight. So kind of help on the back end, managing our client services teams, managing our processes, the insights teams, making sure that we are working efficiently and effectively. And then Char, you're like all things marketing.
I am all
marketing for the marketing.
Marketing. Exactly. I know. It's kind of funny. Whenever people ask, they're like, okay, so you do marketing for the marketing agency. I was like,
exactly.
Yes. Inception. Right? I'm like, come on. It's simple. Come on. But really, I am just kind of serve as the gatekeeper and the person that promotes Soapbox. So I run all of our marketing. And what's cool about that is it's clients, but it's also for the influencers as well. And so it's kind of tricky sometimes. You have to I feel like we have to be like the cool kid on the block.
Right.
Because we have to
be friends with everybody.
Exactly. Yes. And, we're in band, but we're also, on the football team. Like we're kind of Troy Bolton. I don't know. Because we're having to...
Troy Bolton.
Like, that's awesome. Maybe. But yes, that's been a really cool part of my job is just kind of marrying the two and, kind of bringing the professionalism when we're with clients, but then also having to be up to date and on trend with influencers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think we're kind of like the self-prescribed culture keepers at Soapbox.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably maybe even our main job.
Us?
It's just like keeping the culture lively and fun. So.
And I love that too, because when you guys talk about culture, I mean, you really do live it out every single day. Just us as kind of like a fly on the wall to see your company and how you guys operate every single day. And
like drives you guys bad. Like, oh my gosh, get it together, guys.
Yelling at each other from down the hall.
Yelling for each other more like
yeah.
I feel like we're quite quirky, so it probably is same.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm always like, shh, quiet, guys. Like, we got to quiet down. And then all of a sudden we hear you guys.
Nate, where are we going for lunch?
Or Beth's cackle from across the hall.
All right, I have a quote.
All right.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay, so
I was like, yes.
Love quotes.
Love those quotes.
well, when I came on the podcast, I started bringing quotes, and Brian was.
I was very excited. I was like,
you were
oh,
very
cool.
intrigued.
All right.
Yes,
This
is coming back from my English teacher days. Have evidence here. Okay. According to Social Media Today, influencer marketing is growing rapidly every year. In 2020, it shows no signs of slowing down. Globally, the market size of influencer marketing platforms is set to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 32.4% until 2024. The market size is expected to rise from $5.5 billion in 2019 to $22.3 billion in 2024. So our question for you guys as the experts is influencer marketing. What do companies need to realize about this space?
Wow. Could you read that like one more time?
There's a lot of data.
I know. I felt like I was at like trivia night. I'm like,
Make takeaway. Yeah, influencer is growing, right?
It's growing.
It's growing at a crazy rate.
Continuing to grow. 32% until 2024.
Yeah.
Wow.
From $5.5 billion last year to in 2024, there's predicting $22.3 billion.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is a huge industry. And the question was...
We overwhelm you with data.
Yeah, really.
Something about
experts.
how it,
What do companies really need to know about influencer marketing? As it's rapidly growing, it's something that they probably need to be taking a part of. But it's like a lot of them don't even know where to even start or what it even is.
Yeah. So we see that a lot. There's kind of two sides of the house now. There are, well, maybe three. There are those that have never heard about influence. And those are typically, they usually probably like don't have a lot of social media presence, maybe haven't gone digital yet. And then there are kind of those in the middle that have social media presence. They've heard of social, but they're still skeptical, right? They haven't been sold on it yet. And to be fair, it is hard to prove. It's hard to attribute a sales lift sometimes to these kind of brand awareness, and we even try to be more bottom of the funnel like sales. But it is difficult, even though it works, right?
Yeah.
And it works. Sometimes it can be a little anecdotal, like we know it works. It's a little harder to prove. And then there are the third ones that are like, it's part of their marketing budget and it will continue to be a larger share of their marketing budget because they are seeing it be really effective. So,
I love that in the sense of Lauren's smiling over here. We just have these conversations with our clients all the time. It's like they want the ROI, and which is completely understandable, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But when you talk about just with us, we're podcast and video marketing. It's like there are multiple pieces of content that we put out, email blasts, and you see it on LinkedIn. You read the blog, and then you go to Facebook, and you're there. Like they're usually, I think, in a last a quote that you had before.
Yeah,
it's like 18 touch points for a B2B company to finally do business. 18 times that they have to see you before they know, like, and trust you in order to do business with you. And so it's kind of in that same world where you're like, yeah, we can associate it with. It's not like hey, they clicked on this and now they're my customer. Sometimes it is with that, but I'm sure you guys are even more in that world of shopper insights and trying to connect the dots of like, these are the campaigns and this was the lift or however.
And we work with a lot of sales teams too. And like, they want to see sales increase.
Oh yeah.
They want to know that their, even their limited budget is going to make a difference and move the needle.
Yeah.
And we always try to tell them like, influence should be part of your plan.
Yes.
It shouldn't be the end all be all, but it is a great complement to your other shopper marketing activations.
I feel like it's become part of like, should be in your marketing. Like it's a traditional marketing now with the world we live in. Like everything is searchable. If you think about it, when you meet someone, you're probably going to add them on social media and then you can scroll and look at their tagged photos and kind of what you were saying, like, people are going to dive deeper and deeper into something they want to know more about, They're going to click on every single thing just to get to know more. And so brand awareness is huge. Like showing that you're put together is very important. Like I find myself with brands now, instead of Googling it, I find it on Instagram. Like you search it there first over Google. Like,
And businesses are beginning to move at the speed of social. Twitter, and just how fast things can change and the landscape changes so quickly. And that's true for influencer marketing too. There's in some ways it still feels like the Wild West of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But in a lot of ways it's becoming much more established, much more reputable. And, and there's a lot of, with the FTC now, there's more guidelines on, preventing fraud in that space. And there are, more restrictions being placed on influencers. And it's creating just a more reputable outlet, for marketing. So
rather than just the early days of influencer marketing, we're like sending products to people and it's like, hey, post about it. It's like now there are actual like, oh, this was a paid sponsorship promoted by whoever, by Walmart or by, Kraft or whatever it is. Like you can actually see that. And I think that transparency is really good because it does probably protect the influencer as well as the consumer in that space too. Everybody knows what is going on. And I think we just this is my opinion, but I feel like we're on this hump. Like we're kind of getting over that little hill of like, oh, we're realizing people promote products, right?
Yeah.
And now we're seeing it as more transparent, which that's great. I think it's just going to become the normal thing where we see, oh, this is paid sponsorship. Cool. I'm going to check this out rather than like, oh, they're paid to do this.
And, before I was in influence in marketing, I was always skeptical. I mean, it's like, how can you trust someone that's saying that it's sponsored, that their opinions are real?
Yeah.
And I think any influencer firm worth their salt has processes in place to not hire influencers that aren't already excited about those brands. So influencers, it's actually illegal for an influencer to promote a brand that they don't believe in. Like they can't make claims that they don't actually feel. Not that you could prove that, but that is an FTC guideline. And, we always try not to pitch our services, but we think like that hand selection, that hand vetting of influencers and the way you create an application process for an influencer to partner with a brand is extremely important, that they feel comfortable, that, that the brand persona fits their audience persona, that the demographics align and that, they actually believe and stand behind these products.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it does work. Yeah. It works very effectively that way.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you guys are talking about that because I was talking to my husband who's not into social media. So take that for what it is, just a math teacher. Why
is that a common man thing? I feel like.
A math teacher?
No. Just like, men aren't into social.
I don't know.
I think that's changing too. But it's maybe a little slower, kind of laggards in that.
He's kind of, he's more into the sports side of like.
He is fantasy football, statistics, Twitter, and all that area.
We should hang with him.
Yes,
exactly.
He can totally hang with you guys.
For sure.
And being a math guy, he's built an algorithm for fantasy football and picking and all. I mean, so he does go into it, but you're right at the of course, the level that we're at.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was talking to him and I actually mentioned influencer marketing. He goes, that's a fake job. And I was like,
ooh, snap.
I looked at him and I was like,
take.
Hey, old man.
Those influencers, get out of my yard.
He is kind of a grumpy old man. I love him dearly though. But how do you combat kind of that thought process that influencers are not real? Like they're not real jobs. They're not dependable people that you can hire. Because he's not the first person that I've bumped into that's like, oh, an influencer. That's just some teenager that's just taking selfies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when I think of the influencers that I know, I mean, they're entrepreneurs, they've created their own business, which is crazy. But also, we say it's making a living from your living room. And you have to have discipline and you have to build a brand and that's you. So not only are they putting their whole selves out there, I think that's the biggest thing for me. I'm like, oh, should I do it? Not that I'm like, should I do it? But I'm like, that would be so hard. Every single day, making sure you're put together, making sure you have a plan, for your own brand.
Right.
I feel like that's where I'm like, it's legitimate. I mean, yes, it is girls taking selfies,
Right.
I went to Paris last year and literally just sat there and just stared at everyone just taking photos there. But when it comes to promoting products, I think it's people just being passionate about what they have and what they do and what is making them better. And that's what we're doing with our jobs too.
Right.
I feel like they're just getting to do it solo.
Right.
Yeah.
Word of mouth marketing has been a tried and true practice since the beginning of time.
Right.
And that's basically what influence is it's digital word of mouth marketing. Right. And there are several bad seeds, right? That kind of can create that idea that it's fake, it's superficial. because it is rampant, right? And I think fraud is something that we take very seriously here. And how do you combat fraud? How do you protect the brand's dollars, so that they're not throwing money at someone that has like purchased fake followers or, is involved in fraudulent activity or, like inflating their own reach, things like that. Those kinds of things, I think, have given influence a bad rap. But in our day-to-day interactions with these people, and we have a network of like 5,000, and they are good, honest, authentic people.
Yeah.
And what's funny about them is, whether you agree or disagree or you follow an influencer yourself, there are so many people that follow influencers. And maybe we all do to some degree because we follow people that we trust and we come to rely on their recommendations. And, even my wife she's like, I don't really follow any influencers. But then when we started thinking about it, she does. She follows several health influencers that are doctors on Instagram that, so even sometimes we do it without realizing it.
Yeah.
Right.
You find your niche. Yeah.
I think it's important to understand that, like to Charlotte's point, that these are real people.
Yeah.
And that goes back to, why influencer agencies exist, because it is hard to find the right people for the right product and the right brand. And it can take many, many hours and lots of software and, lots of tools to connect those people. And I think that's where the value of an agency comes into is, that hand selection, that knowing how to find the right person, the perfect person for the perfect brand.
And that personal touch, like we have one of our coworkers who works directly with the influencers. And I mean, she's on the phone with them. They're like, hey, is this photo good? Do you think this will fit like what the brand wants? Like talking on the phone at 11 p.m. at night, they care about what they're putting out there.
And you wouldn't believe the number of people that have backed out of campaigns because they're like, this isn't really I can't really stand behind this product.
Wow.
Right. Or I don't think my audience would, agree with this product. I'm much more sustainable and this product maybe isn't as much. So I'm going to back out. And I mean, once you start seeing that, you realize like
they tried it.
This is legitimate space.
Yeah. I think it's something that we really love about you guys is that you can tell from your company and the company culture, especially us being roomies, we can see it a little bit more, but just that you guys genuinely care about people. And I think that's something that just kind of flows through all with it. When you guys talk about your influencers, it's not like just someone who works for you randomly. You guys are there to support them, which I think is super cool.
Yeah. That's true.
So when it comes to, if a brand is looking at using an influencer, what are kind of qualities of a good influencer? Somebody who's actually going to be, if I'm coming to you and I have this product and I want to promote it and I want to use influencers in this space, I'm a big fan of Gary Vee, and he is always plugged using influencers. Like that's the easiest way and that's the quickest way because it's mutually beneficial. That way you're not paying a big ad agency to run a TV commercial. You're actually putting it in the hands of people who would use it. But what are some of the good qualities about some of those influencers if a brand was looking at using them?
I'll tell you some of the things that we look for when we're hiring and vetting influencers. We obviously reach is important. However, I think reach is honestly becoming less important. And I think it'll always be important. You want to find people that have a solid reach, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 100,000 followers, right? But you want to make sure that those followers are, number one, real, right? And that they're engaged with them. So we look at engagement rate a lot, sometimes even more so than the reach itself, because it doesn't matter if you're reaching that many people. If they're not engaging with the content, it's a moot point. It's wasted dollars, right?
Yeah. It's that 1,000 true fans, right? Rather than having 1 million followers, 1,000 people.
We look for those influencers that have, and nano, micro influencers, those that tend to have like less than 50,000, less than 100,000, they tend to have more loyal followers anyway. And they tend to be more tapped into what their audience preferences are. And so we look for those that are just close to their community. We look for influencers that re-engage, that comment back on comments, things like that continue the conversation. They're not just pushing content out and then letting it go. They're actually staying engaged with that content. We also look for, fraudulent activity. And I think you can see it, if a lot of their likes come from fake accounts, or if a lot of their comments are coming, or they're like standard comments from even other influencers or other these kind of bot accounts. And you can get software to kind of help you track, to see if they've purchased followers recently or things like that.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of agencies will put those practices in their guidelines, that you can't purchase followers or that you're not a part of like loops, follower loops,
or the groups,
things like that. Go and like my content and like 30 other people's content and, follow them, that kind of less than ethical behavior. So we look for those kinds of things as well.
That's awesome.
Am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing something.
I know. I feel like just our standing word, and it comes from our tagline, is just authentic,
Mm-hmm.
And we dive deep into it. Like we have one that coming up that's for dog treats. And, it's like, obviously they have to have a dog,
Right.
or have a dog at hand, things like that. And our clients will come to us with like very like specific things that they're wanting in terms of people. And so I feel like just someone who is authentic and true to themselves, like we really snag those up.
All right. So there's a term you mentioned, micro-influencer, that's kind of gaining popularity. And so first, if you could define what is a micro-influencer, but then why are they gaining popularity and how can they bring value to your campaign as compared to like top tier talent? A lot of our clients feel that to get an influencer, it has to be someone with like 1 million followers.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it has to do with kind of what you're hoping to achieve for one.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's various influencer marketing campaigns, right? Is this a brand awareness program? Are we driving sales at the shelf? And I think the type of influencer you use is different for each of those. But in terms of micro versus macro versus nano, you see those terms floating around all the time. I think of micro influencer I think the common definition would be someone under 100,000 total social followers. I tend to think of micro as even less than that.
Okay.
And a lot of the influencers we work with, like they may have 7 to 10, 15, 20,000 Instagram followers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the value, I think I spoke to this already a little bit. The value there is that they're much more in tune with their audience and they tend to have a much higher engagement rate. Than like a Kim K. Right, who actually has a surprisingly good engagement rate. I'm not gonna lie. She's pretty engaged.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I would just, the loyal following. Like, like you were saying earlier, your wife follows a specific thing because that's what she's passionate about. And we'll find that with our, whatever brand that we are promoting. Like, we're like, okay, let's look specifically at the people that are really in tune with making sure that their kids are having like holistic eating, things like that. Like we're going very specific because we're going to reach that audience.
Yeah. And cost is another really important factor.
Also that.
I mean, you can purchase a top tier influencer and it'll cost you a lot of money. And these micro nano influencers tend to be, a lot less expensive and still very effective at it, driving an even higher engagement rate. Yeah. Maybe not as much reach.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's not as important as just, driving home your message and getting that call to action.
Yeah. And you can hit nationwide with that,
You really can.
More people and just having people from all over.
Let's say that a brand wants to get involved with influencer marketing or just even somebody in general, like, hey, I want a side gig and I've built up a decent following. How would they start into getting into that world?
That's a good question.
Yeah, really. Like first steps. I would say my biggest piece of advice for a brand is give it to someone else. Give it to the experts. If you're a new up and coming, like trying to get on the shelf brand, like you're busy trying to drive sales and all that, and take it to the experts, whoever it might be of just like an influencer agency. I think it's so important. There's so much that goes into it. And like we were saying, like, you might be communicating with an influencer at 11 p.m. at night, but like we're passionate about that. We love doing that, but there's a lot more. It's herding cats. Like it really is. Like we were talking about that the other day of just like you're wrangling all these different people, making sure products getting to them, making sure like posts go out at the right time, checking to make sure it follows those regulations. I think there's so many little things that goes into it over it just being a simple post. Right. So I think that would be, not to say like go to an agency, but Go to an agency.
No. And we know a great agency too. So
you do.
Oh, we do. Oh, you can pitch yourself. That's fine. Yeah, you're totally fine.
Yeah, we're trying hard not to pitch ourselves. But when you're good, you're good.
What can we say?
We could solve all your problems.
I think for an influencer themselves, though, is there are a lot of agencies. It's becoming a more saturated market. And I think all of them have some sort of community that you can join. Like I know we have a community and where it's not just for, paid opportunities. It's for training. It's for, building your brand, getting those tips and connecting with other influencers to grow yourself. So I would highly recommend that you continue to network with other influencers and other agency partners to start building those opportunities.
Absolutely.
And there is a market for nano influencers, even as small as, 500 followers, that
Nate, are you trying to plug yourself? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
500 people.
I do have 200 followers on Instagram.
I'm one of
my private
I'm not
Instagram
yet.
Private.
Oh, well, now you guys just even plug your network. Mighty Networks. Mighty Networks.
Mighty Networks.
Yeah, I was right. I should have went with that confidence. Anyway, Mighty Networks. So one of the things too, because you guys moved from Facebook, you had a Facebook group and then moved into Mighty Networks, and I think it was I love to see the engagement and stuff on that too, and like get those notifications because we are seeing more stuff posted in there than when because we became part of your community on Facebook, and you got to see every once in a while, but seeing the weekly updates, like Lindy did weekly updates on there and Facebook
Tuesday.
Live. Yeah, all kinds of really cool stuff that basically was training. It was not just, hey, come here if you want a paid opportunity, but it's like, hey, how to just better yourself, better your, content in general. And so I think it was what you guys are doing is even good for those that maybe just want to, tip their toe, I guess the tip of their toe into the water. No, get into the water.
Tip of their toe.
Tip of
Just the tip.
Of their
Just
pinky
the
toe.
Just want to just get it, just a little bit. Just a
Polar
little bit.
plunge.
Exactly. But
Okay, so
I'm gonna stop
hard transition out of that.
Out of the tip of the toe.
Tip of the toe.
So, kind of closing with us, what is next for Soapbox? What's on the horizon for you guys?
Oh gosh. I think we're going to continue to get better at what we do. For one, I think that's always the goal is, one thing that we've started to see is that clients, our clients, the brands that we pitch, they are getting more savvy. Like they're getting more educated about the space.
Yeah.
So I think it's obviously important for us to continue to stay ahead of the curve because it's changing so fast. Instagram's API will change almost monthly, I feel like, on the amount of data that we're able to scrape. And, how do we get more data? How do we really track sales at retail and all of those things? Those are all the questions that we're trying to answer and that, we continue to innovate and develop. And so that, I think that's one front is just continuing to better ourselves. And then secondly, there's a lot.
Let me read his mind real quick. I'm like, okay, fine. Just
we do a lot of insights.
Yeah.
And so right now with COVID, and a lot of brands don't know what their shoppers are thinking. We've done several forums with brands and major retailers, just trying to help them understand what are shoppers thinking right now. Are they going to celebrate Christmas? Are they going to decorate for Halloween? Are they going to dress up for Halloween? Like, we don't know because this is a new normal, right? Are they going to throw parties? Are they going to buy product at the same amount they did last year? Are they going to buy more product? So just trying to really understand and tap into the mind of the shopper is also a big, play for us in the coming year and next year.
Nate mentioned earlier just our 3 legs of a stool. And I mean, if you don't have 3 strong legs, then it's going to fall apart. And so he was saying, just strengthening what?
Only got 2. I don't know what to do with myself now.
Nate is not the stool, everyone. But I feel like what he was saying is like, we want to strengthen our marketing services. We want to strengthen our insights. We want to strengthen our influencers. And I feel like that comes with just more products, more developing. And I mean, Nate and our president, Beth, are constantly dreaming of just ways that we can better ourselves, ways that we can, hit all ranges for the clients of if it's someone that's new to the shelf or it's someone that is, a very established brand that's been around for centuries. I feel like that's been the coolest thing is just to see like it's constantly evolving. And so we have to constantly evolve.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really cool. Well, hey, you guys are fantastic. Well, I'm so excited that we've been able to actually do this. We've been talking about it since we first became roommates.
I've been avoiding it for at least 6 years.
Hey, guys, make sure that you comment and let Nate know how good of a job he did. Go follow him. Maybe he'll approve you on his Instagram.
Maybe. Yeah.
Nate, Matt, Pat.
Charban. Like Ray-Bans,
Oh, Charban. Ray-Ban.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is awesome. And then where can people find more about Soapbox? And if they want to get plugged in as an influencer or brand, where can they go?
Yeah, soapboxinfluence.com.
I'm sure you'll link it.
We will. It'll be in the show notes.
If you're savvy.
Soapboxinfluence.com. The link. I don't know.
We will absolutely
right now or above.
Where is it?
I'll mail you a flyer.
But really though, yes, soapboxinfluence.com, obviously.
And then all the social
channels.
And
we should be on social. We are on social.
And we're local. And we're usually here in the office. So stop by and see us.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you guys again. And make sure you guys reach out. We do have all of the show notes available at goroguex.com. We'll make sure to put everything there, link to Nate's Instagram account. So make sure, again, go follow him and comment below and let us know how well he did.
Yes, please.
I'm just going to keep plugging that.
Please, we should build him up. Yeah, build him up.
I'll be starting my own podcast.
You did today.
We did.
It's a big one. It's a big win.
That was not good.
Put that in your LinkedIn profile.
Personal podcast.
I do have a dream. We've talked about it.
That's right. Yeah. We'll have to save that for next time. All right. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.